Hello everyone, I hope you're well. For today's performing arts task, we are continuing our ukulele skills unit, but today we're moving on from riffs, one note at a time, to looking at chords. A chord is any combination of two or more notes played at the same time. Because ukuleles have 4 different strings, whenever we strum all 4 strings at once, we are creating a chord. That's a chord, that's a chord, that's a chord, that's a chord, even though it doesn't sound particularly nice. It is still technically a chord because it is 2 or more notes played at the same time. Today we're going to take a look at a few basic chords to accompany a song called Down by the Bay. You may have heard this song before. It goes like this. Down by the bay, where the watermelons grow, back to my home I dare not go, for if I do, my mother will say, did you ever see a llama eating his pajamas down by the bay? As we can see, there are 3 different chords I've used there. A C chord, a G chord, and an F chord. Much like our musical notes, chords are named after the first 7 letters of the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There are different types of chords, major and minor and so on. We'll get into more detail in those in the weeks to come. For now, we need to know that we are using C, G, and F, 3 different chords. Attached to this seesaw activity, you will see a sheet that has all the words to Down by the Bay and different chord symbols above them in colours. The part of the text that is lined up with the chord tells us where and when we need to play that chord. For example, in the first line, Down by the Bay has a C chord, and it has it specifically above the word bay. So we wait until we get to that word before strumming. Down, there we go. Down by the bay. Notice the way the chord lines up with the word bay. The next line, where the watermelons grow, has a G chord above the word grow. Where the watermelons grow. Notice the way that the chord is played in line with the text. Now, if you do not have a ukulele or a guitar at home, that's totally fine. Much like last week, we're going to try using our online guitar to play these chords. So, let's take a look at what that online guitar is going to sound like. Okay, so I have opened up my online guitar website. Remember that you can access this by clicking the link in the Seesaw activity or by Googling online guitar and finding the recursivearts.com website. Now, we're going to use this in a slightly different way to last week. Rather than clicking on individual strings, I'm going to go over here to the chord map and turn on chords. There we go. We notice that once we've switched it on, all of these other symbols appear. We need 3 different chords, 1, 2, and 3. We need to program in which chords we're using. The first chord of the song is a C chord. So I'm going to click on my drop-down menu here and find C. My second chord is going to be a G chord. Find my drop-down menu, I scroll down, scroll until I find G. Make sure it is G, not G6, not G7, not G sharp minor, no other Gs, just regular G. And for chord number 3, we need an F chord. Scroll down and find it. There we go, I've got my 3 chords. To play those 3 chords, I'm going to use these keyboard shortcuts here. Q for chord 1, W for chord 2, and E for chord 3. This can get a little bit confusing because we start to think about what letter names, what our chords are, instead of which keyboard shortcut we want. But notice that Q, W, and E are all right next to each other on your keyboard, so it makes it nice and easy to play. You can just have 3 fingers lying right there. I'm going to start with chord 1, so I press Q on my keyboard. Notice how the dots have changed on my guitar, setting up which notes are going to be played, but it hasn't actually made a sound yet. In order to make a sound, I need to press the down arrow here to strum. There we go, there's my C chord. The next chord I need is G. I press W for the G chord and strum with the down key. I need another G chord, so I press the down key again. And then we go back to a C chord, so I press Q on my keyboard and press down. Then I need an F chord, so I will press the keyboard shortcut for chord 3, E, and strum with the down arrow. Then back to C. Then back to chord 2 and chord 1. While you're playing around with this, see if you can make it line up with the text. Down by the bay, where the watermelons grow, back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother will say, did you ever see llamas eating their pajamas down by the bay? What I'm looking for in our seesaw activity is the fact that you can make your voice line up with the correct chords. I'm not assessing you on your singing voice. What I'm listening for is that you understand how the text and the chords match up. Do you understand which word you need to be saying or singing as you play a C chord, as you play an F chord? Practice along with those lines so that you can perform it as I have just done. So now that we've seen an example of what the online guitar looks like, this is what you need to do for your Performing Arts Challenge for this week. Have a play around with the online guitar, practice the chords in the right order, and you need to be able to say or sing the text while you play. Remember that I'm not assessing your singing voice. What I'm looking for is whether you understand which chords line up with which words or not. So even if you are using a speaking voice, down by the bay, where the watermelons grow, I will still be able to tell whether you can line up the text with each chord strum. Once you've practiced it a few times and you're feeling confident, click the Add Response button on SeeSaw and select Video. Record yourself playing and singing along with the online guitar, and then click the green tick to submit your work when you're done. Good luck and happy playing!